Perdón. No pasa.
Bueno, bienvenido a todos. Good morning, everyone. Bonjour à tous. In today's event is going to be special. We have here Miss Leah Buhain. She finished her master's degree in teaching French as a foreign language at the University of Lyon.
Mhm.
And then mention bien, magna cum laude. And also, she did her master's in teaching Spanish as a foreign language at the University of La Rioja.
Yeah, international, yeah.
Yes, magna cum laude as well. And at the same time, she said, "Oh, I'm gonna do another one." So she's currently enrolled at the master's program of Université de École supérieure d'interprète et de traducteur. So she is currently studying in the Philippines since it's pandemic, and so I think that she's doing really well. She just finished her how do you call that, your semester? No,
First semester, yeah.
the
We're in
first
our second
semester,
semester.
and now she's currently doing another one. Please welcome our special guest for today, Miss Leah Buhain. Good morning, buenos dias.
Buenos días in
Yeah.
España. Here it's evening. So good. If you're in the Philippines, good evening. It's 7 p.m. In Manila.
Thank you for gracing us and for attending our event for today. I know
Uh,
that there's a lot of people who are really interested in knowing how they can learn like two languages at the same time, especially foreign languages, and also they want to learn the the struggles and also the challenges that you've faced. But so without further ado, I will now share my spotlight to Miss Leia. I'm gonna make you the host so that you can share your PowerPoint or anything that you want to share us. Okay.
so here we go. Let me just share this. Okay, I prepared the PowerPoint. So stop sharing first. Let me check this. Okay, so good morning or good afternoon, good evening, to all of you. Thank you, Daryl, for inviting me here. And because it's Daryl was my student in class at Alliance Française de Mani. That's how we met. And at the time, he was about to leave for Spain, wasn't it? No, so before that, before that. But that's how I met him. Okay, he was my student in B1. He was already in B1. That was a long time ago, so I suppose in B2 or perhaps B1. I don't know. In French. So Daryl, like me, is also speaks more than two languages. He's French and Spanish. Okay, so you know that I'm not the only one. There are other people. Daryl himself is speaks both French and Spanish. So anyway, he invited me to talk about that. It seems like challenging, isn't it? I mean, to learn one language, one foreign language. What more two? Yes, it is hard. It is very hard, and so let me just give you a background of okay, so, yeah, what happened. A little bit of background of how I learned these languages. So like my journey in learning foreign languages. That's my name. Okay, so I started French. Okay, so these are my diplomas. These are the schools that Daryl mentioned. For French, a master's degree in French, teaching French as a foreign language. I got it from this university, Université de Lyon 2. And then during my second year, I enrolled online at this university in Spain, Universidad Internacional de La Rioja, where everything is online. But it's a master oficial. It's a official university, official master's degree. Okay, so that was during because in France the master degrees usually last 2 years. Okay, M1 and M2. They call it M1 for the first year and M2 for the second year. In Spain, it's possible to finish it in 1 year, but it's really, really heavy. Imagine 2 years paint into it. I was able to finish because they're related anyway. Teaching a foreign language, teaching. You want to know the Spanish version, so that's way as well. Okay, and now I started last year, September. As soon as I finished, these, 2 master's degrees, I enrolled in ESIP because I passed. If I hadn't passed, I wouldn't have bothered, to continue. But it has always been my dream to get, to obtain a master's degree in translation because these two were master's degrees in teaching of foreign language, which is very different from translation. I'm about to finish the first year. So this is the name, École supérieure d'interprète. Okay, so I first learned French at the age of 15 or 16 at same school. Wow, it was an elective class. Okay, that was my first, not because I was interested in French. It was just by accident that I learned French. Actually, a friend who was a Francophile told me to take it, and so because I was totally lost, I didn't know what to take, for my elective class, and so she was the one who told me, why don't you take French? I mean, French is cool, whatever. And so I did. I took that, and for some reason, I really enjoyed the class. I think I was the only one in that class out of 10 or 12 students because I enjoyed conjugating. I enjoyed conjugating, so
Conjugation is life.
I know, and I enjoyed. I don't know. I just found it cool, that you can say the time in a different language. When I learned
Uh-huh.
like how to say the time in French, like il est 1 heure de l'après-midi, I was like, wow, that was so cool. I don't know. Anyway, so since then, I, that was the start. That was the Well, after that, well, I was taking my bachelor's degree was music education in same school, the same schools, same school. No? While I was there, because I was so bored, I decided to enroll at Alliance Française. Actually, I initially planned to take German because I was initially a piano major and then I shifted to music education. I told myself maybe German was more practical since I was studying music and most of the composers for my course at the time, piano works were German. Perhaps it was just logical to take German. But at the time, Goethe Institute was located in Quezon City. It was very far. I lived in Aquinas with my parents. So hassle, and I studied at same school, so hassle the trip. And so, well, maybe why not French? I started with French, why not French? Okay, and so I enrolled at the and then I stopped because I got bored. I easily get bored. Sorry. Because French was just really for fun. So when I decided to take a master's degree in Anglo-American literature in UP Diliman, I enrolled in advanced units in French. I stopped at Alliance Française, because I noticed the classmates were studying. It was only me. That was too slow. So but that was me, huh? So it's a personal thing. And so when I was in UP Diliman, I discovered, oh wow, you can take French classes here, and so that's what I did. I wasn't required to take French. I just wanted to because I really loved it. So I did. I enrolled, and then while I was there, I discovered that you can take a master's degree in French. I had no idea. I was really really ignorant. So man, like, I mean, why not? No? I mean, I love Shakespeare, but the other authors I didn't like that much, and so I decided, you know what, I'm gonna take a
You
master's
should
degree.
say, oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, because I don't like reading novels. I'm not really a reader. I mean, I'm not a voracious reader. I mean, I don't really like reading. But I love plays. I love plays, and so that's why I'm glad. So
Uh-huh.
that's what happened. So I shifted to French. Okay, so a master's in translation because I've always been interested in. I mean, I just love it. I just love comparing English with French, and so I just want to share this one. It's also inspired me. Goodwill. I don't know. I mean, Goodwill bookstore when they decided to have this major sale because they were about to close. They ran out of money in bankrupt, I think. And so they sold most of the they had this huge sale, and I was able to purchase these two wonderful books, which I still have until now, for sentimental reasons.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I only bought this for 150 pesos each. Imagine that,
Ah, that's
150.
nice.
Yeah,
Miss Leia, sorry for cutting you. Could you please see if there are some people waiting in our...
Oh,
Yeah, because you're now the host, and I forgot
oh,
to...
yeah, I didn't think
Can
that.
you like disable the waiting room? In
Oh, do I have to okay,
So
disable
probably
it?
there are people who are waiting to be
Oh,
accepted, if there are.
There are none. There are no people
Okay.
waiting.
Yeah, sure.
Well, I'm the one. So this, yeah, I always share this with my students. Really, really love this book. I refuse to let go of it.
When did you buy this again?
Goodwill books.
This
Yeah,
books.
that's the name of the bookshop. Goodwill. The name title Goodwill.
Ah, okay.
Well, Black Bankrupt, I think. So yeah, so yeah, this is the one. There are about 1,500 words here, so it's a picture dictionary. It's for kids actually. So the there and the English word. And I enjoyed because I'm a visual learner. I really enjoyed reading this book. I memorized all the words here, about 1,500 words. You know, French and Italian because I was also interested in Italian. But they were just nouns, okay, just nouns because of the dictionary. That time was really hard already. But since I was a kid, I mean, yeah, I was yeah, young at the time. I had a lot of free time. There was no Netflix back then. There's no Netflix back then, so not many distractions. So I was able to remember. But it wasn't easy. I was very determined. I don't know why. I just wanted to know these terms, these words. Okay, so now the hard part, no Italian Spanish. So it was probably in A2 when I took my first Italian class, which is co-located in Pinoy. Remember, I was enrolled in Alianza again, then in UP, and then I went back to Alianza to take like
Mm-hmm.
at some point because I've always loved it, I decided to limit. So when I formally enrolled in the computer, I had my dictionary, right? But I didn't really take formal lessons. I finally decided to enroll in an Italian class. I was probably in A2, A1, late A1 or A2 because I had already learned the past semester, in half A, the second semester, and that's when I started to, and it wasn't a great, it was very, very hard. First of all, I didn't like the school, but it's still there. I don't want to name the school, but well, my, most of my students know this school because it's not a very good language. They teach other languages, okay, not all the languages supposedly. My Italian teacher was very, very nice. He was Filipino. He lived in Italy for 20 years. Really lovely person. But as a professor, he was one of my, I'm sorry, but he was one of my worst professors because he wasn't trained to be a teacher. He wasn't trained to be a teacher, and he didn't know. He didn't even have a lesson plan. He didn't have anything prepared. Every time he would come in class, he was never prepared. And okay, so he would, and then I remember the most shocking part was when he gave us a long list of verbs to remember. Now it's letter A, amare. It's alphabetically arranged, the letter A, without any context. It's just a list. Okay, a list of words, uh, verbs actually, of verbs in are, for us to memorize without any. So it was very traditional, I suppose. And well, like I said, he wasn't really trained to teach a foreign language, and so he had no idea. And his case was different. I mean, he learned Italian in Italy, um, and his experience was very different. He enrolled in a he joined this group of teenagers. He uh, enrolled in a high school. He was surrounded with native speakers. Just so he could pick up the language. And so it was his experience was very different. Okay, so like I said, he was a lovely person. I loved him as a human being. But as a teacher, oh my god, it was really really bad. And so I had to stop. And at the time, I don't know if it's just the method, well, or lack of, because he didn't really have a method. And when or maybe because of my level as well, because it's quite low, early A2, late A1, early A2, when I started learning a second foreign language. So it was very, very hard. It's very hard. I couldn't remember, the stuff it's like if I tried to think to study Italian, they forget my French and vice versa. It's so hard. Anyway, so after a few years, I started learning Spanish. I mean, I wasn't interested in Spanish at all. Okay. When I was a kid, I was one of those Filipinos influenced by that thinking na the Spaniards, the friars, the friars, no limitacere, so you have this bad image of the Spaniards. This is really wrong.
That is true.
Yeah, that was in my head. Okay, so that the Spanish wasn't really interesting for me. But the scholarship granted by AFE required me to speak Spanish, and also Instituto Ramos de Manila was just across the internet when I was a student. Can't help but you see it, and then I had a friend who was taking classes there, and she loved it. So it kind of influenced me. Maybe I should take Spanish. So that's how. And my experience with Spanish because I don't know if it was the book I used. No, before I enrolled at Instituto, I studied on my own so that I can skip a few levels and save money. Because poor student. I bought this book at Power Books, published by Berlitz, and it was a very small book, and it wasn't good. They made Spanish so hard, and so I was like struggling because I had no other book. Nowadays it's so easy. You have Duolingo, you have all these apps, you have YouTube, you have free books on the internet, right? You have all these resources, which I didn't have when I was studying Spanish. I had to rely on bookstores, bookshops. And so that's what happened. Very, very stressful. So I couldn't remember anything. I couldn't remember anything. The French the French kept it was because I was really used to thinking in French. At that time I was advanced in French already. I think maybe C1 or maybe I don't remember. But it was pretty. I was pretty advanced in French when I started learning Spanish, and kind of feel tired already because your second foreign language. I'm not like those people who found it easy because a romance language, so therefore it's easier for you to learn a second romance language. I think that was Daryll's case. No, I mean Daryl's pretty fast, pretty. I'm not like that. It was I don't know if it's the book I used or I'm just really slow because it was so hard. It was so stressful. I wanted to give up, but I remember it was Holy Week at the time. It was so hot, which added to the stress. It's like, oh my, I have to finish this book because I'm like that. I finish a book, when I a grammar book, I would read it from cover to cover, and it was like, oh my god, I think I want to give up, etc. For some reason, I didn't give up. I don't know why. Maybe because I was bored. I had nothing to do with my life, and so I wasn't working at the time. Yeah, so a lot of free time, and again, no distractions like Netflix. Okay, so although there was HBO, but still, yeah. Okay. Anyway, so that's what happened. I don't know, maybe some little voice there pushing me to finish it, or maybe it was my training in the conservatory. Even though it's super hard, you have to practice. Even though you hate it, even though you don't want to practice, you have to practice 8 hours a day because that was our training in the conservatory of music. I mean, yeah, my instrument was piano. Well, it's for everyone, not just piano, for voice majors as well, violinists. You had to practice 8 hours a day, 6 to 8 hours, but not, you can split it like 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the afternoon, 2 hours in the late afternoon, and 2 hours in the evening. And I was learned to do that in the conservatory. So I applied that in French and later on in Spanish. I would like sometimes sporadic because I loved it. I loved it. I, loved learning grammar. So it wasn't really super hard. I mean, not like with my piano, it was very hard because I didn't want to do it. Okay, I mean, there's a big difference between one, even though it's hard because you find pleasure later on. No, when you achieve something, no, when you reach a certain level, then you just keep going. So that was with what happened with my languages. Okay, so fortunately, like after that, no Spanish, no, that was my. It was kind of like very kind of like I don't know. It was very unpleasant that experience. Very very stressful. My first taste of Spanish because I did it alone, and I depended on one book that wasn't very good. I threw it away. Okay. And then when I finally enrolled in Instituto Cervantes, I skipped 3 levels. I was put in level 4. At that time, it wasn't A1, A2 yet, I think. I'm not sure. Or was it? No, I think it was A1, A2. Anyway, level 4, I don't remember. It was 4, number 4, I'm sure of it. And I was kind of lost because I didn't start from the beginning. And so, at the time, I remember they had to learn the indefinido, present, of course, and I think the perfecto. And I was so confused because I was comparing it to French. Okay, so indefinido and perfecto, I discovered later on, was the passé composé in French. And so, my God, what's the difference? Because in French, it's only passé composé. How come here you have two choices, either indefinido or it was perfecto? And so, it was very, 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 stressful for me. Okay, but thank God, thank you for the, Instituto Cervantes Biblioteca, no library. So I saw better books than the one I used, and because that's how I um, I think that I need to know the grammar. I need to do a lot of exercises for me to remember. I'm not like those people. I saw this video earlier. A student sent it to me. Half French, half Filipina uh, vlogger. Okay, she learned it very naturally because she's an auditive learner. I think because she loves listening to music, playing video games. So hers was, I think, more fun and more, they call it ludique. My case, I don't know. I don't pick it up that way because I have very kind of poor listening skills ever since I was a kid. So sometimes a person would talk to me like, huh? I wouldn't pick it up. So it's, I think it also depends on what kind of learner you are. So in my case, I needed a lot of, we call it exercice de oh, I forgot now. Systemization. Okay, there. I forgot the term. Systemization. Okay, see, I can't even pronounce it anymore. Anyway, so yeah, a lot of grammar exercise for me to remember. So that's basically it. Okay, so that was my experience. Okay, now okay, I think Daryll has a different experience. I think his is more, I don't know, maybe he can share it with you because like I said, no, I'm not the only one who knows 2 foreign languages. Okay, now and my experience also wasn't like super easy, but because of the circumstances at the time, like I said, the kind of learner that I am, and the kind of resources that I had. Okay, I don't know, nowadays it seems easier because you have all these apps, you have YouTube, there are a lot of resources, free resources on the internet, and also what do you call that? The one on, I forgot what it's called. Not the one on, okay, what do you call that? On iTunes. Anyway, podcast. There you go. Remember the word.
Ah, yes, podcast.
So like students would ask me what I could recommend. I couldn't say anything because I never learned my foreign languages that way. And even with Italian, I still use books. I'm more comfortable with books. I'm more comfortable with grammar exercises. So I guess, because of my background. Okay. So anyway, so okay, the dirty stuff. Okay, because Daryll asked me also to like present a PowerPoint. I didn't know what to put here. Anyway, I want to share with you those people who are like hesitant, to learn a foreign language or a second foreign language for that. This guy, François Grosjean, he's Swiss. Okay, so he shared his insights on bilingualism. He's quite famous, and he's known for this. So perhaps it might inspire you. Okay, so let me just this is the website. If you're interested, I'll post it. Well, or you can just type his name. He's famous. Okay, so here you go. That's the source. I just this is just screenshots. And copied it directly from the website. There are other there are a lot of videos about him. Okay, and about bilingualism. Okay, so there are myths, about bilingualism. So I try to like what people know who so that that it's a myth. Okay, so that's why I'm sharing this with you. Okay, so let's start with the first one. So bilingualism is a rare phenomenon. Wrong. You think, like for here, wrong. It has been estimated that more than half the world's population is bilingual. Bilingualism is found in all parts of the world, at all levels of society, not just the rich, okay, in all age groups, not just kids. Even in countries with many monolinguals, the percentage of bilinguals is high. For example, one can estimate that there are as many as 50 million bilinguals in the US today. No, I mean, in the Philippines, we're actually bilingual, right? And actually, some or a lot of people, a lot of Filipinos speak three languages. Okay, I find this interesting. Every time I ask my students what languages they speak, they always forget that other language then because they consider it as a dialect. Okay, I don't like that word dialect, and if you look it up, no dialect, no in the Philippines, no, it has a negative connotation because you don't consider it as an important language. Like Cebuano, oh my God, how many people speak Cebuano? It is, as powerful, well, not powerful, but as, it's spoken by many, many Filipinos. But every time I ask that question, people always say I speak Filipino and English. Okay, the third one is always not mentioned. Okay, very, very few. I noticed Cebuanos, sometimes they mention it. But others, I mean, like Boholano, Ilocano, they don't mention it. And why? Because they think it's a dialect, and therefore it's not important. Now, when I wrote my paper, when I did my research, there are 170 languages in the Philippines, 170. Okay, languages. Okay, not dialects, languages. Okay, so sure, there are two official languages in the Philippines. Sure, we have English and Filipino official. But the others are languages as well, and that's sad because I mean, people don't consider it as a language. Maybe because most of it's not written and use it casually, like with friends, family. It's not formally learned. Okay, which is my case. Not I mean, I speak Filipino. It's just like automatic because this is quite a formal thing. So I speak in English, but I speak Filipino. It's just that in case Daryll has foreign foreign fans. So yeah, okay. So anyway, oh, what's that? There's a chat message, isn't it? I passively know Ilocano is language my home. Yeah, but I can't speak it. Yes. Okay, we'll get into that. Okay. Yes, you are bilingual. Okay. Yes. Ivy. Okay. So that's the first one. Bilingualism is a rare phenomenon. No, it's not. There are a lot of bilinguals in the world, and in the Philippines. No, so many of us. Not just English and Filipino. Okay. All right. Next. Bilinguals acquire their two or more languages in childhood. Wrong. In my case, I was already, well, except for French, because I started 15, 16, but kind of old already. Okay, so, and I have students, adults. I remember my A2 class, they were all adults. It was a Sunday class, one of my favorite, classes. Sunday class, they started with me, A2, and they finished with me, B2. Okay, so because they had to leave, no, there was no more class, because the class got dissolved already because they had to leave the country. Most of them went to Canada. They reached B2, and when they enrolled in Alliance, they were already adults. Okay, so yes, this is a myth as well. Sure, might be easier, if you learned it, in childhood. Sure, but doesn't mean it's impossible for you. Okay, so there's no age when it comes to learning a foreign language. No, as long as you're motivated, you work hard, then yes, you will achieve bilinguals. Next, bilinguals have equal and perfect knowledge of their languages. Now, this is going back to Ivy's comment. Okay, this is a myth that has had a long life. It's a myth, actually. You have to speak it well and have perfect grammar, perfect knowledge. That is a myth. In fact, bilinguals know their languages to the level that they need them. Some bilinguals are dominant in one language. Others do not know how to read and write one of their languages. Others have only passive knowledge of language. In the case of Ivy, she understands perfectly, perfectly. Okay, but it's passive because she can't produce it. No, it's passive. Passive meaning it's all reception. Okay, all comprehension. Okay, and finally, a very small minority have equal and perfect fluency in their languages. Okay, I think this is the one, the small minority that have to guess translators and interpreters. No, you need a certain skill for that. Okay, so I guess that is the small minority. What is important to keep in mind is that bilinguals are very diverse as are monolinguals. Okay, so that is it perfectly fits not Ivy situation. Okay, a lot of Philippine my cousins in the states, they understand Tagalog perfectly, especially when my uncle or my aunt makes mura make mura when they cuss. No, yeah, they understand perfectly, but speaking, no. No, no. I think a lot of Phil-Ams are like that. No, they understand Filipino, but they don't speak it, which is, yeah, well, I guess because they're in the States, no, they don't really use it. Okay, so that's one. Real bilinguals have no accent in the different languages. Again, that's a myth. Okay, like that French Filipina, no, she still has an accent when she speaks English. She speaks well, really, really well, no, and I speak it with an accent for sure, and it doesn't matter, I mean, as long as you're understood. Like modern, okay, nowadays with teaching a foreign language, okay, nowadays we don't put so much emphasis on accents because even natives have different accents. I mean, come on, let's just look at the Harry Potter film. I mean, the Harry Potter, like the actor who played Harry Potter, the actor who played Ron Weasley, because I don't know their names, and Emma Watson. I know Emma Watson. The Emma Watson who played Hermione. Listen to how they speak. They're all British. They're all British, but my, different accents. Okay, and there you have Prince Charles as well. Okay, so when you say English, what accent do you want? American English? Even among Americans, you have that Southern accent. You have that LA accent, whatever. I mean, if you say you need to learn a certain accent when you learn a foreign, what accent do you want and what kind? Okay, and Spanish, oh my, even more diverse, isn't it? You have the peninsular Spanish in Spain, Mexican, you have Colombian, all these accents. Okay, as long as you're understood, because that is the purpose of learning language, right? To communicate, isn't it? As long as your message, you get to send your message across. No, that's why in their exams, because I'm also trained to be, as in a DELS and DELE examiner. No, we're trained, to yeah to be like to test the competencies of the student. Pronunciation, sure, there are some points in pronunciation, but the focus is more on whether you are understood or not. Because if your accent is so thick that we can hardly understand you, then well, you get your points will be deducted. But if we can understand you perfectly despite the accent, well, there, awesome, no? So yeah, that's the actually the criteria on pronunciation. Not because you sound like a native, whatever that means. Which native? Right? I mean, what kind? Like especially with Spanish, when you say you sound like a native, speaker in Spanish, what do you mean? Uh, like Puerto Rican, whatever. Hmm? So I remember there was a student who shared, he had I won't mention the language school, uh, uh, this Frenchman, a French native, in his 50s, I think. So conservative. Never, he was never trained to teach French. Okay, so he was trying to force my student, our student, to speak a certain way, no, because he wanted that crisp French accent. Which, so I told my student, "Do you want to sound like that? And if you do, then sure, go ahead, work hard. If you don't, as long as you're understood, because it really depends on what you want. Okay, if you want to sound like Prince Charles, then sure, take separate lessons on pronunciation. Okay, so because that's it. Not so anyway. I'm just talking about this one. No, have no accent in their different languages. Okay, and like Americans, Latinos, have they also have an accent. Hmm? Anyway, so yeah, not I mean, there's some people who put so much emphasis on accent, which is silly in my opinion. Anyway, so that's that. Let's go to the next one. Bilinguals are born translators. Wrong. Even though bilinguals can translate simple things from one language to another, they often have difficulties with more specialized domains. Like right now, I'm taking a master's degree in translation. I was so surprised because language is one thing, but yeah, like the domains. No, I mean because my degree is more of professional. They call it professional, no translation, meaning not literary. Okay, where you're not trained to translate literary texts. So it's economic, business, scientific, the technical text, and like I said, no, of course you have a good grasp of the language before you can translate, but that's not the only thing. No, I mean there are other things that we have a course on introduction to law because we are being trained to translate legal text, and it's really hard because my background is music education. I mean, I'm like, oh my god, I yeah, and I have a course on economics, business economics, because you need to have a knowledge of these things, in order to translate well. Otherwise, just use Google Translate, no? I mean, that's why you still need translators because there are specialized domains, no, like their domains, no, and you need a good knowledge of that as well to be or in order to translate well. I had a student. She was my student at Instituto Cervantes. No, she asked me, should I just focus on translation? But the thing is, her level is too low, A2. In order to be a good translator, you need at least it depends also what kind of text you translate, of course. But because translation is another skill. It's a separate skill. It's different from teaching, no, and it's different from well, from anything else. It's different. Although they can translate perhaps simple phrases, like everyday life, things that they use every day, like turn left, turn right, take this street on the left, take this, maybe those things, yes. No, but translation, well, depends. No, I mean, it's an entirely different skill. Okay, next, mixing languages is a sign of laziness in bilinguals. Okay, there was this idea before, no? Of course, I mean, it's very different nowadays, no? Mix, like we call it code switching. Okay, I used to think that way. Before I went to France, no, I had all these ideas. That's why I was very very grateful. No, I got the scholarship. It really really opened my mind. I was so ignorant of many many things. I still am. This one really really opened my mind because I thought, here because I'm Filipino. No, I was born and raised in the Philippines, and so I thought not Filipinos who can't speak like pure Tagalog or pure English. No, I get annoyed or used to, because I thought they were just being lazy. Like why can't you just, like I it used to be a pet peeve, like um push mo yan, push mo yan, and there's another one that I forgot, I can't remember. Anyway, there are two phrases that I found it really annoying. Yeah, ask ko lang, ask ko lang. Okay, ask ko lang. No? It's like, may Tagalog naman sa ask, di ba? Like, may tanong lang ako. Pwede naman, may tanong lang ako. Tanong ko lang. Di ba? Ask ko lang. I really got so every time a student would ask me that, like, man, it's either because that was my training when I was
Push mo yan.
yeah, because that was my training when I was a kid, when I was in my school. You have to speak it correctly, whether it's in Tagalog or in English. No, I mean, because that was old school, I suppose, old school. And so I used to like ask ko lang, get annoyed. And then after I learned about this, it's like, oops, oops, sorry. Okay, sorry. I should, like I said, I was very, very ignorant. One of these things, I didn't know. Okay, so that code switching, and that's why I'm so so grateful, to have like Campus France and.
But before we move on, Miss Leia, so like, what do you think about it? I mean, at the end of the day, this is just what Francois, no? It's the name of the person.
Yeah.
It's just what he thinks is acceptable. But do you share the same idea that code switching is fine? Because also a lot of people are saying like, yeah, like it kind of makes the language impure in a way because
I
you're
used to think
mixing.
that way. I used to think that way, but my professors in Lyon, uh, well, helped me realize some, like that actually, it's. I understand why, it can look bad because you want to preserve the purity of the language, whatever that means, no, pure because language itself is very, very, very controversial, very, very controversial. Not the purity of a language, no, like in France and I think even in Spain, no, there are a lot of English words being used, no, nowadays, and the purists, of course, are against that. I understand. I mean, but well, you can't. Language is, you know, it's a living thing. It keeps growing, it keeps evolving, and whatever as much as we want to preserve it, it's kind of
Yeah.
hard to do.
And just to add to that, I know like some like Filipino linguists who specialize in studying Philippine languages. They say that Filipino languages in general are really flexible in adapting foreign words. That's why we have a lot of foreign words in Filipino, as opposed to probably I know that in Spanish as well, but not as like in Filipino, like we can just insert like an English word and it would sound nice and it would sound acceptable. And yeah, so I think it's because of that. We are the Philippine languages are really like adapting a lot of words. And one thing, may I just share, like last time I was talking to the teacher, like I forgot what fastener is in Spanish, but they say sí es lo mismo es fastener, and I was like, yeah, is it really? Like, do you really have a word for that, or you just no sé es fastener, lo llamamos fastener. I was like, probably in other Latin countries they call it differently, but yeah.
Well, yeah, especially in IT, I mean, they can't help it.
IT,
You have
yeah.
IT business. It's very, very controversial, no, especially in France. No, but anyway, so there. Okay, so this is the last part. So bilinguals have double or split personalities. Okay, so perhaps I don't know. Like with me when I speak French or Spanish. No, I don't know. I mean, this one, well, according to François Grosjean, it's a myth. Okay, bilinguals are also bicultural. No, like look in Switzerland, for instance, no, here who often acquire 3 or 4 languages. No, they're not bicultural. Okay, and bilinguals express their emotions in their first language. Wrong. Okay, wait a minute. I have a chat message. You can ask Miss Leah. Oh, yeah. Okay, sorry. Express their emotions in their first language. Wrong. But it does feel good when you make mura in your maternal tongue. Yeah, no, yeah. So those are the myths. I shared with you. Again, no, if you want to learn more about it, there's the link, and there are a lot of stuff about it, on YouTube as well about.
Miss
Okay, so
Leia with what is this? Oh yeah. Continue. Are you gonna say something?
I'm done. I'm done with my presentation.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
I'm just gonna ask like so you don't believe in the idea that like if you speak another language, your personality changes, or I think somehow it changes, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I do
Well,
believe
according
that.
to law, it's a myth. Well, personality, no, because it's like we're split personality, like schizophrenic or something. I think it's more of the attitude, like not exactly the personality, maybe the attitude. I don't know.
Mhm.
Because me, when I speak French or I don't know, when I speak Spanish, I feel more passive. And French, I'm more analytical.
Really?
If it's just my imagination, but
Yeah.
yeah, when I speak English, sometimes it's more formal. Like right now, it's automatic because it's a
Actually,
formal.
when I may I just share when I was living in France and I would do like phone calls. Sometimes they would call me Madame for my voice. And I was like, yes, validated. Yes, I'm a
Yeah,
girl.
that's good.
And they was like, excuse me, madam, mais quelque chose, whatever. And I was like, no, je suis pas madame.
Correct. Something like that. Like, oh yes.
So like, okay, another question is like for you, like, do you still feel like you wanna cuss in Filipino or in
I
English? I think
love
like for me, for
Filipino.
example, I'd rather like say it in Filipino and English than in Spanish. Like I know like the cuss words in Spanish, but like I don't feel it personally.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
When I'm sincerely mad, unless I'm talking to a friend, of course.
Unless you want the person to know or to tell that to the person so that the person would understand you that you.
Like, but when I'm alone and I'm really mad and stressed, yeah, I won't say it because you're recording it. The letter P, the letter P, it's my favorite. The letter P, always, always. And now, like, diba, like, now, I'm speaking English because nga, because of the setting, but diba, pag tayo lang sa Facebook,
Uh-huh.
Tagalog.
Yeah, log, yes. That's
Really,
true. I think a lot
diba?
of people got really inspired, Miss Leia, that you've done two masters, and I can like I was in like with you with your journey, like
Yes,
studying, doing the
not as well.
interviews, and then
Yeah.
yeah, you finished everything, and now you're doing another one. So
Well, this
that's really
wasn't planned.
inspiring. Yeah.
The third one wasn't planned, but this has always been my dream. Like I said, I've always wanted to take a master's degree. Teaching was happened by accident. I wasn't planning to be a teacher because for me, you know, I had all these ideas about, professors, they first of all you have to be really smart to be a professor. And I didn't think I was that smart. And then number two, you had to speak in front of a group of people. It was just kidding. It was just question. I'm just like, wow, how much were those masters? Oh, the first one was you
Yeah,
know,
if you could share,
uh,
madam.
yes, okay. In France, it's called Till France scholarship. The deadline is on March 15, I think. Okay, you have one more day if you want to apply. And in Spanish, well, it wasn't a scholarship, but my one paid that. It's IST. IST gives scholarship also to Filipinos, but I tried applying there, but I wasn't qualified because you had to be in a public institution, so I didn't. But it had to be public because I emailed Madrid after IST Madrid. If I could apply, and they said no, it was just if you no, because I was in the private sector, so no. And so because me, it's either I love both. Actually, I love three languages. No, I love both French and Spanish equally. People always ask me, they make me choose. They're like my kids. You can't. It's just that I learned French first, so there's
Oh, really? I thought like you prefer French more. I didn't know that you love them
so
like equally.
well, it just seems like that. It seems that way, but I love. Well, of course, French will always be special because it's the first language I learned, right? And then Spanish, it was kind of stressful when I learned it. But of course, I mean, obviously, I mean, nobody forced me to take a master's degree in Spanish as well. But I was so curious, chismosa, about, you know, okay, so because I really really enjoyed my first year in Lyon, the first year of masters. It really opened my mind to so many things about the situation of my country, the Philippines. Like about diglossia. No, I don't know how to say it in English. Maybe diglossia, like diglossia. I don't know if you have it in English. I learned that in the only master's program, the first semester, and so I wanted the Spanish version because it's the same anyway. Teaching a foreign language, I just needed to learn the Spanish version. That's why I enrolled, to compare, and it really enriched, my knowledge in teaching. They were complementary. Now the stuff that I learned in French, in my French masters, I learned in my Spanish masters, and vice versa. Because there was stuff there that like grammatica. Because I love grammar. Didactic, the didactics in grammar in French. I didn't, kind of disappointed. But the didactics, in Spanish, in Spanish learning, it kind of, they complemented each other. So I really, really am so happy, really, really grateful that I had that experience. What are your
Mm-hmm.
thoughts learning the languages as an adult? Yes. okay, it is very, very difficult to learn a foreign language when you're an adult because your lack of free time. That is basically, it's not because of your how your brain works, no, because they say, this myth. When you're a kid, it's easier to learn a foreign language. It's not true. I mean, they pick it up faster so that it seems that but they forget easily as well. They pick it up so fast and then they forget, no, and then they forget. So, but with adults, they don't pick it as fast, as kids do, but it lasts, it stays there much longer than a kid, no. And because the processes, no, the way, because kid, they just, they're like sponges, no, they just pick it up, they, and then oops, if they don't use it anymore, they forget, na lang, no. But with adults, no, you analyze, because you've already come up with a system, you've already developed a system, no, because languages is, about is it's about the way you think, the way you perceive, an idea. Okay, so here nasanay ka na, like how do you say I love you? No, I love you, I subject, love is the verb, and the object is you. You always put the object in the end if you're an English speaker. uh I love you. And then in Spanish, te quiero, there's no pronoun pa, te quiero, and then object, and then verb, right? So you have to train your brain, no, to think that way. Not oops, sometimes the pronoun disappears, and then you have the object, te, and then you have the verb, quiero. Okay, so it takes a while. Like kids, they just repeat what they hear, and then So anyway, going back, sorry. The major challenge is like looking for time, not free time. Now, fortunately, you have these free apps like Duolingo. No, I mean that's the only one I know, so I keep mentioning Duolingo because that's the only one I know. But they say Babel is pretty good now. I don't know. And there's
Not
Boost,
sponsored.
sponsored, not sponsored, no. So I think there are other apps. At least no, while you're queuing up or while waiting for someone, that's what I do. The problem with that is you need internet all the time. No, you need data. No, because that's what I did. Like for my Italian exam, the PLIDA, to prepare, like while I'm waiting for the jeep or whatever, like whatever. So yeah, I would do it. No, but of course, because when you're physically exhausted, it's super hard to study. No, so that's why even though anything, no, anything that you study, it's not just languages, no, in general, like people who are working students, no, adults now taking their master's, students taking their master's degrees as well, and then working and studying at the same time, super hard, super hard, no, because now you're already exhausted, physically exhausted, and when you're physically exhausted, your brain doesn't function well. No, you don't pick it up, no. So okay, going back to your question, what tips? Well, find the time, to just, if you can. I know it's very, very challenging when you have work, especially nowadays, because there's email and all that. Everything is just like rushed, and you can't find it. Even you're at home, you're working, no, I mean right now because of the pandemic, of course you're at home, but find the time, and like a schedule, if it if you can, no, a schedule, like for example 7 p.m. to 7:30, or just 30 minutes, fine, no, or like 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes in the afternoon, 30 minutes in the evening, within the day, and make it something regular, because I keep telling my students, I prefer that you have classes every day just for 20 minutes than once a week for 3 hours. But unfortunately, in the language centers, you have no choice. No, you have once a week classes because the students don't have much time. I mean, they don't have much. They don't have free time, and that's the only free time. No weekends. No, and that's why if you compare the students in the intensive classes, who have classes every day, and someone who is like only taking it once a week, and you see the difference. So regularity, no, you make it regular, even though it's short. I mean, that's better, I think, than just studying once a week. No, and then the rest of the day, and I mean, the rest of the week, you study like every Saturday, and then the rest of the week, you don't touch it. No, you don't touch your book, or you don't. So there, or I mean, being organized, I guess, a certain list. Because me, in my case, I would finish a book. I mean, for example, okay, I would finish this book in 1 week, for example, no, or 1 month, or I did it regularly, every single day until now. I still, well, because I'm enrolled in a master's degree. I try until I mean, yeah, it has to be. That's how I did it. Like this one. Oh my God, I can remember it too. I would practice and practice and practice because me, I would learn. Oh, by the way, learn your learning style. I mean, you can just Google it. Okay, you can be a combination of all three. What do you call it? Visual, auditive, and kinesthetic. No, it can be a combination of all three or two. I'm visual kinesthetic, so I like movement. I love games. I learn better, or when it's demonstrated, you know that sort of thing. Yeah. So auditive, I'm very poor. Like if a professor does not have any PowerPoint presentation, or that's why I need to doodle, or I need to eat in class. I need to do something, move. Like uh, change my sitting position, because I can't focus. Okay, so learn your learning style. I mean, that's one of the learning styles. And there are other, but this is the one I like because it's very simple. Okay, those three: visual, uh, kinesthetic and auditive. Okay, so learn your learning style, because that's how so that how you process information efficiently. Like that French, half Filipina vlogger. She's obviously auditive, because she likes listening. Me, I tried, songs. I tried. I just got bored. I couldn't pick it up. Kasi paulit-ulit the refrain. Nainis ako. It's like I don't know. It's funny because I have a bachelor's degree in music, right? And I don't like songs. I felt it was slow. I thought it was slow. It's like, oh my, yeah. But it worked for her. It worked really, really well for her. Okay. So whatever works for you, no? Me, visual. If you're like me, visual, grammar. Ayan. San patutak ng grammar?
Madam, there's another question related to teaching a foreign language. From Nicole. She says, is it better to use the target language or a mix of the L1? First,
It's also controversial. Okay. Where
very
is she?
controversial.
Now.
Where are you from, Nicole?
Where?
Or where are you right now?
I'm living in Spain, pero nag-aral po ako sa UP.
Okay. Okay. You're in Spain right now. Di mabuti
Yeah.
immersion. You're
Apo.
lucky. Immersion. Ay, ay, ay. Well, okay yan, kasi immersion naman eh. So you're there. The thing is, it is not wrong. Nowadays we're more open. It is not a sin anymore, because before, like when I first started at Allianz, it has to be. Lalo na Berlitz. Oh my God. Patay ka kay Berlitz. But with the Berlitz
I
method,
worked for them before.
bawal. Bawal, no? But
Bawal, nakakapagod.
nakakapagod, no? Pero simple lang kasi the Berlitz method, so pwede siya, actually. No? It's very, very simple. Anyway, so we're more open now. Yeah, but the thing is, I noticed, 'cause this happened to me, no? One of my Sunday classes. This happened to me when I started teaching, in English, teaching French in English. Ayaw na. Medyo, the A1. Very, very, very basic, the very first level. Parang they won't, ano na, when I try to shift to French, they kind of got, well, like, I wouldn't call it lazy, but, I guess comfortable, and they didn't want to, which is weird because they're trying to learn French. And so it was very difficult for them to shift. And so I didn't like it, that experience, no, because I mean, I wasn't there to translate, not to teach them translation. I was there to teach them to speak in French. And so, but again, you know, feel it if it works for you. I would prefer that it be done in the target language. I would prefer, because yun nga there's the tendency students get to but the thing is, if you have for the teachers, if you have a deadline, you have to teach, these, you have to finish certain chapters of the book in a short period of time. You have no choice but to, because that's what usually happens. You have to finish it. And so, yeah, there. preferably in the target language. But if you are in Manila, in the Philippines, of course, people, especially in the weekend classes, they're already exhausted, from work. Why add to the stress? Why add to the stress that, I mean, they're already, sacrificing their free time with you. And then they pay, they did not pay you to become more stressed. Okay.
I
So,
think it also depends on the level, right, madam? Because if it's A1, A2, yeah, you can somehow insert some English translation of things to make it easier.
mhm.
But if you are already intermediate, I think it no longer makes sense to always translate every time.
That's true. Yeah.
Because it's more of explanation already, like you can explain stuff.
Mm-mm. Yeah. Mhm. I agree. Mhm.
I'm
Okay. So
quite interested, madam, like with your masters right now. Um, Like, is it really like hard? Maybe like some people want to know more about it because you've done like two masters already, one in France and in Spain. Which one do you think is like hard to get into and why?
oh, which one? Order in France or in Spain?
Yes, like
Um,
when it comes to
no, because
masters.
no, because it depends on the course. My course, teaching a foreign language is not very popular. Okay, so meaning there's no entrance exam. No, it's hard when you look at when it's not very maybe not popular is the right word. Sorry, maybe let me take that back. Not as bonga like compared to a business course, for instance, no, or psychology. Psychology is very famous in France. The business courses, engineering, that sort of thing. That those are the courses that are a lot of people want to get into, and that's why there are difficult exams, difficult entrance exams. Even my third master's degree, there is an entrance very 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 difficult entrance exam, because they want the students who have achieved a certain level in French, you know, and yeah, because the focus is on other things like law and business economics and all that. No, it's no longer the language. No, although we do have a class on a separate class for the non-natives. No, teaching French as a foreign language. We still have that, not just one class. No, but it's not like in the other schools, I suppose. No, that where they have to really still take more classes on the language. So, well, going back to your question, teaching a foreign language is not really, I mean, uh, well, not hard to get into compared to because I did not take an exam. They just looked at my file, my teaching experience. What they do if you don't have much teaching experience, they would look at if you they would look at your bachelor's degree. That was the reason why I had a hard time also in the beginning. Bachelor's degree. My bachelor's degree is music education. So I had to like wait a bit in order to, like have professional experience in order to get into the program. Because I mean, they preferred, of course, people who took up literature or anything, like related to French or Spanish, linguistics, for example. But even though you did it, like I did, I have a bachelor's degree in music education. I was accepted because of my professional experience. I've been teaching for quite some time. Okay, so yeah, they just look at your file, your CV, and yeah, they look in.
Oh, that's great. And then after this masters that you're doing right now with SC, do you plan working as a translator and no longer as a teacher? What are the
Sure,
plans that you, if
yes,
you can share?
I am a translator already. Even before I am a translator and interpreter for this NGO. And also I've done as you can see in my CV. I am a translator in the Philippines, but freelance because there aren't many projects. There aren't many translation projects here. But I am a translator. Uh, and I also worked at this company as a translator after the French embassy. I worked at this Swiss company as a translator, but I didn't really translate very difficult stuff. It is it's really really boring actually. So yeah, it's just that I don't get projects, that many projects. Even with the NGO, I mean, yeah, they always contact me for translation and interpretation services. But of course, I mean, it doesn't happen every day. Okay, so I don't think there will be any change. Like I said, I mean, this is just something that's on my bucket list. No, because now that I'm not getting any younger, I want to like tick the boxes on my on my list. Translation, well, I am doing an internship at this awesome website. It's a bunch of journalists, European journalists, and I really love it, and I hope it stays online because I would like to do more stuff for them. So yeah, that sort of thing. I will never give up teaching, that's for sure. But yeah, I would be after my degree in ethics. Yeah, intend to have more translation projects, of course. That's why I took this opportunity because I told myself if I didn't if I told myself if I don't pass at Ezit because I wanted a really good prestigious translation school. I mean I wouldn't spend another time for a third master's degree for nothing. No, so it has to be a really really good one. And so since I passed, I mean, it was a sign, like to well fulfill my dream because taking finishing a master's degree in translation in Europe. And so there and yeah, but teaching, yeah, because seems my destiny. I don't think I would give up teaching. But yeah, translation projects definitely more because right now I don't have a lot. So yeah, sure, I'm a freelance translator even before edit. But I just get like here and there, not that many. So yeah.
Okay, so thank you so much. Do you guys have more questions for Miss Leia? If you have, you can email her. Thank you so much, Madame, for sharing your knowledge and also for inspiring a lot of us. I don't
Mhm.
know, some people probably weren't able to wake up early this morning, but this will be uploaded so some other people also can watch this. Thank you, Nicole, Ivy. And there's one as well, there's Jake a while ago who was here, who was listening. So, yeah, thank you so much, guys, for your
Thank you so
time.
much din po.
Yeah, thank you.
Salamat. Bye, guys. Hope to see you again soon for our next educational event.
Take care.
Bye
Bye.
bye.